Is it your iPad at work?
It's the UHS.
Shall we
Which
begin?
is great, except the battery training, so I might have to get a new one myself.
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Broome County Industrial Development Agency of May 15, 2024. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of our April 17, 2024 board meeting. Thank you, Dan. Is there a second? Thanks, Mike. Any discussion? A vote, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to our public comment session. Anybody wishing to speak on any matter concerning the Industrial Development Agency, please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Closing that session of the meeting, Executive Director's Report. Stacy.
Yeah, just a few things this afternoon. As you know, as I mentioned to you last week, on May 8th, the interim DEC Commissioner Sean Mahar did issue a determination on our lead agency status, and we were deemed lead agency by the DEC. Largely, that determination was based on the fact that the land that we are looking at and reviewing does span 2 townships. There had been some precedent case law similarly to that effect, but either way, we are thrilled and excited to begin what we will deem a very intentionally deliberative and collaborative process with all of the involved agencies. We are issuing letters to all of the involved agencies, just notifying them that, you know, we will begin the process of public engagement. We are working on the public engagement calendar right now. We do plan to offer a webinar, just explaining what seeker, kind of breaking it down into brass, you know, very kind of simple terms of what the seeker process is, why we do it, what it entails. We are looking at dates for our first public information session. These are things that aren't necessarily required by seeker, but there will also be required meetings and public hearings as part of the seeker process. So as soon as we have mapped out the calendar for the next year, we will get that out. We did just put, I thought, a very simple, you know, for your purposes, it helps me a ton, just this diagram for the seeker process. We did issue a positive declaration with the DEC. We did issue a positive declaration, which allows us to do the full generic environmental impact statement. So we are essentially right here. We will likely do a public information session before we do a formal and required scoping session. The scoping session is where we outline all of the different parts of impact we will look at, you know, traffic, environmental, infrastructure, you know, all of those things. I think there's 15 to 17 items. So again, we're still finalizing this, but this is just a helpful thing. So there will be points of time in which we need to come back to the board for resolutions. If you recall, when we did this for the 600 Main Street process. Administratively, I think next month we will have one resolution that will just request, will be a staff request that the board allow us as needed time to extend deadlines if we run into delays or reasons why we want to, you know, extend that timeline. Language will be coming to you for the meeting. But other than that, we are ready to go. We did launch broomtechpark.com. I sent you the link to that. That will serve as the hub for all information related to this process. We have uploaded all current seeker documents that we've received, including the DEC's determination letter. And we will use that as our touch point for the community, and we'll be making sure the community is well aware of this website. Also, we will, as you know, there's sort of a timeline similar to this, and we will make it very clear where we are in each process. We are having our first meeting on Friday with the A&E team to begin some discussions on a framework for the design process. Again, that we want that to be very collaborative. So we plan public information sessions where we'll invite the community to come in and talk about things they'd like, amenities they may want to see. So a lot of work ahead, but we're excited to get going.
Stacy, that piece is just running concurrent with the
Yes.
seeker. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the seeker.
Right, we're running those, so one will inform So the seeker process will inform the design and engineering process.
Is there an estimated timeline for these different?
Yeah, I don't have the draft one we're working on, but we expect the final GEIS document, we don't expect till probably first quarter of 2025. So we are, we did get a little bit of a delay with waiting on the DEC process. So, we'll be into next year before we have the final document, and before any real framework for an application would be even considered.
The final box first quarter.
Yeah, I would say, and I can send the draft. I would just say, don't get locked into it because it's a draft timeline now. And, we're trying to finalize that. Our first most important steps are a public information session and the scoping meeting, which is a required meeting per seeker. Any other questions on that? All right, the only other item, we have finalized the guidelines for the small business grant program that we are in partnership with Broome County, with the county on. We are looking to do a launch of that. We're coordinating calendars with the county executive and the legislature the week of June 10th. More details to come. And I think that's all I had for today.
Thank you, Stacy. You've had a chance, I presume, to look at the internal financial report. Are there any questions? You've also, I trust, had a chance to look at the loan activity reports as of April 30th. Any questions relative to that? Okay, moving on to new business. Item number 6, resolution appointing Brendan O'Brien, Executive Director of the Portland County Business Development Corporation, to the Southern Tier East Economic Development Revolving Loan Program, better known as STEED, as a STEED Advisory Loan Committee member. Natalie.
Thank you, John. Per the STEED loan fund guidelines, any new loan committee member must be appointed by the board. Gary Van Gorder was the former executive director of the Portland County Business Development Corporation. He also served on the loan committee. He has since retired, and Brendan has taken his place up there. So it really just made sense to have Brendan step into that role. Per guidelines, it's a requirement that a loan committee member must be a representative of the STEED coverage area, and Cortland County is in that STEED. It's part of the STEED program. I did speak with Dan Crocker, as he's the chairman of the loan committee, and he is in favor of this change.
Good. Is there a motion? Thank you, Peter. Is there a second? Thanks, Dan. Any discussion? Let's have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on to item number 7, which has been slightly modified. Resolution authorizing the agency to enter into an agreement with Pacer AI to enter into a 1-year agreement with Placer AI in the form attached here to as Exhibit A in an amount not to exceed $28,000. Stacy.
Yes, so we met with the Audit and Finance Committee. We are interested in doing a 1-year, and it's an annual subscription. So we're interested in doing a 1-year subscription with Placer AI. Placer AI is a very dynamic software platform that essentially captures travel data with these wonderful cell phones that we use every day now, that can be used to translate economic impact, visitor data in a variety of ways. So Placer AI can be used for a specific point of interest, a specific space, a specific event, and it'll capture a lot of data and activity. How many visitors, what was the expenditures? It captures, a lot of that demographic data as well. How far are people traveling from to get to these events or these cultural institutions? So we are looking at purchasing this platform, doing a share with our partners on the other side with Visit Binghamton, because we think this will be a very great data to have to communicate the economic impact of a number of our institutions, our events, et cetera. On the flip side, from the economic development perspective, what it also can provide for us, I think, is very important economic impact data. For example, I was saying earlier, we could take a swath of downtown Binghamton and we could use that as a benchmark for activity today and watch, a progression of, as, more specifically, as companies come in or new businesses start up, we can use it over a period of time and do a measurement and a benchmark. We can look at it certainly as we're looking to develop the tech park. One of our goals will be to communicate economic impact of a project like this. So we can look at, again, over a period of time, what that impact is. We can do that in a again, for very specific points of interest or specific geographies. So has a lot of, I think, very impactful data that we can use, and it's real-time data. So it's constantly updating and staying accurate. The benefits of this as well is we can use it to strategically market on both sides for the tourism and, the traditional economic development. We will have a better understanding of who our visitors, who our audiences are for, where our workforce is coming from for specific areas. Again, just a lot of uses. I could probably spend the day talking about the different ways you can kind of drill into this data. But we think it'll be an effective tool for us moving forward.
And staff has played with this to.
Yes, we did a demo. Amy will likely be our point of staff with that for running reports, as well as someone on the Visit Binghamton side of things. Yeah, and again, it's the annual contract of the payment for this would come out of, we have sitting in our money market funds from a treasury maturity that we have set aside for various economic development purposes. That was approved by the Audit and Finance Committee last fall. So that would be where this subscription cost would pay from. We have been in conversations about a cost sharing with the county. The only challenge we're running into now, which we have to determine, is their IT, their systems might not allow we want to make sure their system is set up for this. So if that's the situation, they may need to purchase their own, or we would just issue reports on their behalf at their request.
Stacy, how is the cell phone data collected? Is it through cell phone companies or satellite or?
I think it's all, I don't know, it's all just cell
It's out
tower.
there.
It's just out there. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's just how you say, but I mean, it's all just aggregate, data aggregation of that data that
It's amazing.
It is
they can get
amazing.
that kind of
Yeah.
information. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's also a little scary.
I know. But it's interesting. I know, the sample I sent you, this was from a colleague who uses it in the Mohawk Valley. They, it can tell you who travels 10 minutes to work, who travels 30 minutes to work. But for example, that would be very helpful when we're talking about building the tech park. We're going to do a deep dive into our transportation network. How do we make sure that, the workforce, where are they going to be potentially coming from? And do we have the transportation networks for that? So it will really allow us to drill into some of this analysis in a way that we wouldn't, we just don't have tools to do currently.
And now the different groups, is there a definition for them? And not that I need something like that right now, but
Sure.
they had these different names like Boomer or something or other, when you look at the data.
Oh, yeah, I'm not, where they had some of the demographic, they
Yeah.
probably just use, I think census data, like, by age.
Yeah, I'm just
groups in
wondering
there,
like
yeah.
what correlates to what, you
Yeah,
know?
that I'm
You're
not
trying to find out where you
totally
belong.
And,
How close they're gonna be
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
not that we would ever
Right.
want this,
Yeah.
but can they actually get names out of this?
I don't think so. I think
I'm
there
sure
are
somebody
some,
can. I'm sure
yeah, I
somebody
think,
can, but-
yeah. But for example, we will get asked a lot on
Government can.
impact data of,
They can.
the Dick's Sporting Goods Open, right? And, what we have is really more anecdotal, than actual, not just, ticket sales at the event, but where are people going that whole weekend, that whole week? And we will have a whole wealth of data that we can use to, build other events, build other programming, market the community more in different ways. So it's
Oh, it's
Yeah,
well
it's
worth
kind of
it,
a-
that's for sure.
yeah.
Powerful stuff.
So is it are you looking for the county to split it 50-50 or what's? or is it-
Yeah, so that's why I put a not to exceed amount. That is the cost of the annual subscription. So I would request that the board approve up to that amount. But there is the potential for a cost share.
Eventually get some.
Yeah, 50-50 probably.
Is that our share or is that our share?
That's our share. That would be 100%
Ours being agency?
agency.
And-
Yes, we would fund this and
What's the chamber funding?
we would be supporting this on their behalf.
So are they in for 14? So we're paying the whole.
We're paying the whole thing,
But the county will pay if they can get into it.
potentially, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if they're compatible, they'll pay
Right, yeah,
half.
we discussed with them 50-50
Okay,
cost share.
but if they can't, if they're not compatible, then we're.
We would pay the 28.
That's a good fee. I looked at this last year. It was like 80,000.
Oh, yeah, we have a significant benefit as an economic development organization.
Maybe I should get my subscription.
You're gonna get the data, so you're good.
And it is a good. I have a lot of
If we see you asking for
Really neat.
special reports, Joe, we'll,
That's good.
Yeah, I should have prefaced that we do have more competitive rates as an economic development organization.
Just about a year ago.
so this came out of audit and finance. Dan?
Yes, it did.
As a motion.
The resolution comes forward as amended, as a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
A year ago.
Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Item number 8 was on our agenda. It is being held over, I believe. due to need for
Timing.
Additional information.
Yeah. Just
So
the
moving
timing.
on to looking for a motion to move into executive session. Is there a motion? Thanks, Dan. Is there a second? Thanks, Peter. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Stacy, this is executive session. Regarding what, Stacy?
It's regarding, I'm sorry, regarding the potential acquisition of property and as well potential sale of property.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Aye.
Thank you.